Hello, hello. Oh, I'm getting some echo over here. Give me 2 seconds. Having trouble with my hand cam over here. I can't get the volume to turn off. I don't know why. Let me see. Is that better? Oops. There you go. All right. I'm gonna restart this so that we can maybe get some hands in here, I hope. So how's everyone doing today? Is it, you said it was HJ, I believe, if I remember correctly. How you doing? And then is it Willow ostrich feather. Make willow ostrich feathers. Man, I tell you what, maybe I'll try. I need to do some research on it. But we'll give it a shot. Let's see. Hello from Virginia. Okay, I think this is working now. Let me just test it one more time. Nope. Gosh darn it. I am so sorry, y'all. I have the volume off. Let me go get, I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. Talk amongst yourselves. I'm going to go get my headphones and plug them into this so that it won't mess with the audio. I'll be right back. Talk in the chat amongst yourselves. I shouldn't be more than a couple minutes, if that. Okay. Sorry. You know, this was working before. I had it working the whole time until today. So, all right. We'll get there, I promise. I'm gonna have to cut this out of the. All right. So who we got here today? Ooh, we got North Carolina. We got it says real life moments. Here, I'm going to show you real life moments. I love this. This is 1000% me if I try to do something. This is, I tell you what, I am so glad that I'm still small. You know, this is my, I mean, this is probably what, if this is the 5th day of live streams, this is probably my 7th live stream. So, all right, I'm going to try adding it again and seeing if we can make this work. All right, let's see. Test. All right, okay. Let me put this back where it goes. All right. I've everything set up, and of course something has to go wrong. But yes, you're right. This is real life, folks. Real life. That's really weird. Ugh. Okay. All right. So, okay. Ooh, that's a good question. What is everyone's favorite historical costume era? That's a great question. You know, that's always a hard one for me. Obviously, I've done a lot of 16th century stuff, but it's a hard one for me to figure out which my favorite is because I like so many of them, you know? It's a tough one. All right. Ooh, we've got Australia here. You have you got 500 people from a live stream at work. Oh no. Wow. I couldn't imagine streaming to 500 people. I mean, I think maybe I've had oh, this is actually, I'm looking, I have 7 eyes. This is the biggest one yet. So yay. This is awesome. Ooh. We've got Danya says says they're Viking, but my rapier husband is 16th century German, so I'm delving into smocking. You know, I love my smocking. I love my smocking. I'm sure that's probably how you found my channel. That's like my biggest video is I hate that video too. It's just I don't know. It's got a lot of good information, but it was like one of my first. It was definitely my part of my learnings. I'm still learning, but it was my early learning stages. So, you know, funnily enough, my husband, he started out doing Lawns Connect, but he's gotten into Viking because it's a lot easier to get dressed in. So, yeah. So I actually have been doing a lot of research on Viking age and Norse Scandinavian stuff. Also looking into migration era stuff. So I probably will be doing some early period stuff around here. Again, that's not my super forte, but it's kind of fun to do eras that you don't have a lot of experience in. So keep a lookout for that. Let's see. Mary says, I love them all, but right now digging into make a costume for Atlantea's 14th century 12th night. Nice. Yes, Atlantea. I am in Kaid. So hello, fellow Scadian. So yeah. Oh, wonder how the Norse guys manage those leg wraps. You know, we're still getting the hang of that around here. One of the things that we were counseled about was that you want to make sure that you have something that still has a little stretch to it. So that's why the ones that are woven specifically to that width are the best, as opposed to the ones that are like hemmed on the edges. So if you can get away with not hemming them, that's best. So something that has a thickly woven wool is the best, but it's still hard. It definitely takes some practice. We're still working it out. I can get it most of the time. He still can't do it. If only he was as dexterous at putting those on as he was at his video games, right? Let's see. And HJ says, if I had to answer my own question, it would have to be the 1300s from, I don't know that. You'll have to tell me more about that. See. Oh, we got another Atlantean representing tonight. Nice. Oh, stitch them down to socks. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. All right. Let's see. Get a drink of water. Adjust this over here. So tonight, we're going to go do something a little bit different. You know, I do a lot of costuming stuff, but I'm a reenactor at heart. And so there are a lot of things that I enjoy doing. And so I thought that because whenever we have a lot of feasts and camping and stuff like that, hey, how is my handsome nephew doing? My nephew is amazing. My nephew, I have 4 amazing nephews. Sorry, they keep getting added too. I have 4 amazing nephews. Dayton Adams, who this is my sister here, so, but Dayton Adams is amazing. So if Dayton's watching, say hi. All right. So sorry about that. I got a little distracted. So we are going to do, tonight I'm doing the gift of flavor because when we do camping or we go to feasts, sometimes salt is not provided. So we're going to talk a little bit about salt, but before we get to that, we're going to talk about Hippocras. Now, Hippocras is a drink, and it is a spiced wine. And it was definitely something that was very popular all throughout the medieval period, through the Renaissance, and even up to the 1800s. It was still pretty popular. So I went through a bunch of different recipes, and so I came across this one, and it is in a sip through time. Let me grab that book for you so you can see. So it's a sip through time. This is great. This is a great resource. It has so much information of just different recipes and stuff. And I'll put it in the Who's What's It below. What is that called? The description. so you guys can. I'll put a little information about that. But so Hippocras is a medieval drink, and it could be drink. It could be imbibed, hot or cold. So it's great. And all it is, it's wine that's been spiced. Sometimes it has sugar added to it or honey. Now from what I was able to figure out is that if it has sugar, that was what the rich people drank. If it has honey, it's what probably not the poor people, because spices were expensive back then. Spices were you could get herbs because you just grew them in your garden, but spices were very expensive. So this is definitely something that probably was drank more by the rich people. And then the lower classes would drink it with honey, as opposed, because sugar was also much more expensive than honey. Honey you could get, easily. So this recipe says, this is from the Good Huswifes Hndmaide for the Kitchen by John Partridge. This is a recipe. This one's from 1594. I chose one of the simpler ones. And it says, take a gallon of wine, an ounce of cinnamon, 2 ounces of ginger, 1 pound of sugar, 20 cloves bruised, and 20 corns of pepper big beaten. Let all these soak together one night and let it run through a bag, and it will be good Ipocras. So basically what we're doing here, this recipe is for 1 gallon of wine, and you would take the 1 gallon of wine, add the sugar and the spices to it, beat the spices. So basically I'm saying it's a rough, coarse grind. You could put it in a grinder, or I have a mortar pestle. You can use a mortar and pestle. But the way I like to do this, because I want to give this as a gift, I don't necessarily want it to be already ground. It just looks prettier when it's not. So let's go ahead and bring up our hands, and we're just going to bring them up all together. Okay, so I had this all perfect, and then I had to deal with the sound. Okay. All right, so I've got my little bowl. So what I'm going to do is I've got my ginger here, and you can see I just got some dried ginger. Now, if you're making this to give away to people, you should wear gloves. I'm just probably going to keep for myself to make my own Hippocras. So you're going to take this is dried ginger. And in here I have, how much should I have? So this is 2 ounces of ginger root, dried. And I'm going to take 20, so it calls for 20 whole cloves. That's a lot of cloves. And I'm afraid that might be too much. So I just did 12. I mean, obviously your taste may vary, but I think that 20 is too much. So I'm going to do 12 cloves, and then we're going to do 20 peppercorns. And then I have a little bottle here. I'm going to stick this, and then I'm going to put these spices into the bottle. And I made a little paper cone. It's just a simple little paper cone. I'm just going to roll that up. I'm going to put it in here. And I'm just going to spill it all over the table, apparently. Yeah. Just kind of work that in there. I spilled some. Let's put that over there. Okay, and then I'm going to take 2 cinnamon sticks. And because I weighed these out earlier, this was about 2 ounces. I just think that looks really pretty having the cinnamon sticks like that. And this bottle comes with a little cork. I'm going to put that on top. And then I'm going to take a tooth. So I have a little, I thought this just makes it a little bit more, it gives the feel of being historical. It's and then what I did is I printed out the recipe. So what I do is I have the recipe as being, basically they're going to have to add to it the wine and the sugar. So what I said is I wrote this down. I put for 1 gallon of wine. So 1 gallon is 5 bottles. So it's about, you could take 1/5 of this per. I said for a gallon of wine, grind the spices into a coarse grind, add 2 cups sugar and all the spice to the wine, soak overnight, strain the wine through a coffee filter. Serve chilled or warm gently, but do not allow it to boil because otherwise the alcohol will boil off. So I just put that in there, and obviously you don't have to use it all at once. And then I'm just going to, wish I had a third hand, tie this off onto here. Kind of adjust it to make it look pretty. This is where a helper would be great. Somebody to help you by holding it while you tie it on. Anyways, I don't want to take a whole lot of extra time, but anyway, you get the idea. So voila. 1 gift of Hippocras. Have you guys ever had, any of you ever had Hippocras? Let's see. Okay. So the next thing we're going to talk about, oops, I'll keep that on there so you can see. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about salt. So salt throughout time has been incredibly important. At one point, it was so valuable. It was as valuable as gold. So the story goes. There are words that we still have today that came from the salt. So in Roman times, they would salt their vegetables, and they called it salad. Sal, S-A-L, is, I don't know if it's the Roman word, but I know it's the Spanish word, S-O-L. No. Oh, I may have spoken out of turn there. Anyways, sal is salt. And so, oh my gosh, why am I so blurry all the time? So we have salad that comes from that. And then, so it was very important. As a matter of fact, I came across an interesting story. The story actually, there's a lot of the same story that you find in different eras and different cultures. So this in particular, I couldn't find exactly where it originated or how old this story is, but it seems that Shakespeare actually referenced it in one of his plays. It's like the same frame, anyways. So I'm going to tell you the story. Bear with me. I have to look at it. So there was this king, and he had 3 beautiful daughters. And he asked them how much they loved their father. And so the oldest says to him, "I love you as bright as the sunshine." And he was quite pleased with this. The second daughter says, "I love you as wide as the ocean." And again, the king was pleased with this answer. Then the youngest daughter says, "Oh, father, I love you as much as water and salt." And the father, the king, he did not like this answer. He disliked it so much, he sentenced her to death. I know, dark, but aren't most, fairy tales. So her 2 sisters basically saved her, and instead of giving her to the executioner, they gave a dog to the executioner, and they returned to the father to prove that they had taken her to execution, and they returned to the father and brought the tongue of the dog as well as her garments. And she went and found, like, there was a wizard who took her into his castle that was across from a palace. And in this palace, she met the king's son. This is a different king. We're not talking incest here. It isn't that dark. So the king's son falls in love with this princess, and soon they agree to marry. So the day before the wedding, the wizard tells them, the sorcerer tells them that they have to kill him and cut out his tongue. I know, so dark. I don't know why. Yes, they have to do this. And then they have to get married and invite her father. So they have to invite 3 kings, and one of them needs to be her father. So on the day of the wedding, the girl serves the food, or has the food served without any salt. And then the king, her father, is like, he isn't eating. And they ask him, "Well, why aren't you eating?" And he says, "Well, it has no flavor." And the daughter, I guess, puts on her old clothes and looks at him and says, "Now do you see how important salt is?" And of course, they're reconciled, they embrace, and everyone lives happily ever after. So it's kind of an interesting story about how there are tales about salt. So I found that kind of interesting. Let's talk about, in the medieval period, they would have feasts, and they would have the lord's family sitting at the head of the table, and all the higher ups would be sitting at one side, and on the other side you'd have everybody else, and in the center of the table there was the salt, and those that were on one side were considered to be above the salt. And this is a saying that basically means that someone who's above the salt is someone who is, important. It's so important. Henry VIII actually had 11 salt cellars in his inventory, and one of them was actually on display. I think it's in the British Museum. It was on display, and it was a salt cellar that was combined with a table clock. It was like 30 centimeters tall. It was made of gold, and it was encrusted with rubies, garnets, pearls, and it even had a miniature cameos on it. So that's pretty amazing. That's how important salt was. It was often found near bodies of water, and then that was early on, and they would there was a whole process they went through to get the salt from the water. And then obviously it was mined. There were some salt mines. And so this is some salt from that I got from it's alpine salt from Salzburg, because Salzburg was named for its salt mines. So what we're going to do today, we're going to make some salt, flavored salts, for those times when you're in a feast or you're camping and you want to flavor your food. Okay, let's bring this up. All right, so I have here, and this one is really easy too. So I have here this is some, I got the coarse ground, this is sea salt, because I like sea salt. And then I'm going to do some sage salt to start with. And this is some sage that I grew in my garden, and so I'm going to take some of this and put it in my mortar and pestle. I've dried it out already. Although, salt is also antibacterial. So it was also used to clean things. And the reason that it is antibacterial is because basically it sucks all the fluid out of the bacteria's body. So then what I'm going to do, to make it easier to grind this, I'm going to throw a little bit of the salt in there, because the salt will help to grind it up. Everything's shaking. Sorry about that. Give it a little help here. Make it go faster. All right. Just grind that up into there very nicely. I'm going to leave it a little bit chunkier because I like that. And then I have these these are little bottles. It's, a nice size. And then I'm just going to put it in another little container to hold it while I do this. This might be too big for this one. Oh, I don't know that this is going to go into there. I'm just going to work the salt into, I'm going to do it this way. This container's a little on the small side. We'll get there though. I'll get it in there eventually. I should have just done it smaller like I usually do. Okay. Uh-oh, I better throw some over my shoulder. There are a lot of wives' tales around salt. Now you'd want to definitely do this a little smaller. This is a little bit big. So this one is, so we've got sage, and you could do this with, I have some rosemary here. Some dried, you just want to make sure it's dried. I've like dried rosemary, and the cool thing is you could do it with things out of your garden or not. So clean this up a little bit. And then again, we're going to take, I love putting little linen things on these. I don't know. It just thinks it looks good. I'm so sorry. Shaking you all up here. So again, I'm just going to, for this one, I'm going to put on this. And then I'm going to put a little tag. I have so much stuff on my table. No. I have tags around here. Anyways, I would put a little tag on here and label it as sage salt. So, and then you can do, I thought it would be cute to do, you could do either one, or you could do, you know, several of them and line them up in like a little box or something. That would be really cute. So that's item number 2. And the third one is super easy as well. This one you don't have to do any work for. Just going to go out and get yourself a little bottle. Obviously, you're going to want to take the tag off. And then it just takes some, I just have this tea. This is really good. I love cream Earl Grey. I just love the way it smells. I'm just going to take some of this tea and pour it in here. I think I got a little too much. All right. Top it off. And again, I'll just throw on another fabric wrapper and a label and call it good. Again, I need more hands. You get the idea. We've done this before. All right. Focus. Okay. Okay, so that's what I have for you today. So this is 5th day of live streams. So we've done 5 things. Tomorrow, Mullen is coming on with me, and we are going to talk about it. We're not going to do a gift. We're going to talk about how to stay warm when camping in the wintertime. Now, I'm from Southern California, but for me, there are times when I know everybody's going to say, oh my gosh, that's not cold. But when it gets like to 40 degrees at night, 30 degrees sometimes, and I've gone camping at other events where it is cold. And so, but Mallin's from Sweden, and I learned so much about camping in the cold from her. So definitely join us tomorrow. We are going to be going live. We said either 11 or 1. So I'll just look for me. I'll put up you'll see it. I'll put it up on the channel. I'm going to probably do that tonight. I need to just touch base with her just to double check what time we wanted to do that. So yeah, tomorrow I'm really looking forward to that one. And we're going to, so the other thing is today was supposed to be hooks and eyes. I have it was gifts with wire. And unfortunately, because I wanted to have I have a video coming about how to make hooks and eyes, but I lost my cord that I needed to my external drive, so I wasn't able to work on that today, but I found it today, so yay. I wasn't able to work on it last night. So I'm not going to be able to have that done until Sunday. So Sunday, we'll be doing gifts with wire, and once the live stream is done, we're going to premiere the how to make your own hooks and eyes, which I'm very excited about. I've worked pretty hard on it, So yeah, so I hope you all are enjoying these. And I really am. I think it's really cool that y'all show up when we get to hang out. I love meeting everybody. And yeah, so I will see you all tomorrow. Again, I'm never clever about signing off. So here's to more adventures in the future. All right, y'all. Thank you for showing up, and I will see you on the next one.